Hey guys, welcome back to Ignition Point. I'm Debbie Hart.
I'm Sean Finnegan. Welcome to the show, London. We will make sure we put all your social in here. I started following you, and you're one of my favorite follows, man.
Thank you.
And I just love it. I think, it's authentic in everything you do. And we were talking about a little bit about how you just put everything out there. I mean, it's real stuff.
Yeah, I mean, try to, in this line of work, you see a lot of people faking it and meticulously setting up their camera so it looks better. And I mean, while I do like high production stuff, I really try to just do what I want to do regardless of the audience. That's actually bit me in the butt a lot, but I think why I've been in the game long enough is because I get to do what I want regardless of what the fans are saying, regardless of what people are saying. So I have kind of a different approach to social media.
Is that what fuels you, is just doing what you want?
Yeah, I want to experience everything the world has to offer, and I think I'm experiencing it through video. So whether that's travel, I've done a lot of gigs where I get to travel somewhere, make video content like that. And then on the flip side, I want to do interviews. So then one day I'm interviewing people, and then the next day I'm traveling,
change it up.
and then
Yeah.
the next day I'm
Variety.
acting. So, people follow me for a whole bunch of reasons. Some kids know me as the kid that looks like Kevin McAllister.
Oh, yep.
Right.
Others know me for like my red carpet interviews or my factor caps where I experiment things. So there's a variety. There's a variety,
Yes, I love variety. It's the spice of life.
yeah. It's
What's your
good.
favorite videos you've done? Like, tell us about a couple of videos you've shot that you just absolutely love.
Yeah, last summer I tried to be the first person to do a marathon underwater. So I built, my producers built a helmet that sat on my head. It was plexiglass, and we filled it with water. And then I attempted the first one. I failed at 5 miles because the water froze up at not on my
Jeez.
head,
Where
not
you
on my
were
head.
doing it, yeah?
Yeah.
But we had water lined this entire trail from Brighton down to the base of the canyon. Revel race. It was a real race. And yeah, we failed because I got a major brain freeze. And I mean, this brain freeze lasted for hours.
Oh. Wow.
Like, when you're drinking,
yeah.
you're drinking your whatever, your
Yeah.
slushy, and it's like 20
Yeah.
seconds. Now
But
this
for
thing,
hours.
like
Ah.
right here.
Yeah.
So that was painful. I think my body could have handled it because I was training for it, but I was
Not
not
with the
prepared for
brain
that.
freeze.
So failed at 5 miles. I'm going to do it again this summer.
And you kept it all on there. That's part of the authenticity.
Well, we haven't even released the video.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knows about this.
All right, this is all.
But it's going to be the Heroes Art.
unreleased.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be the Heroes Art.
But you are going to release it because you're real and authentic. And you're
100%.
like, even the failures go out because this is who I am.
I think it's going to be a great story, right? You don't see YouTube videos that take a year to make, right? It's all about quick, virality and money. And so I think this is going to be a really cool piece.
Well, how did you get started with all of this kind of a lifestyle, creator lifestyle? I mean, did you been doing this from a young age, or did you do something before?
I mean, it's such a funny question because it kind of starts with money. I think it ends with video, but it started with money. I was sitting at a video job making $28,000 a year. And I'm just scrolling on Google or whatever I was doing other than the job. And I see this headline, and I didn't know who this person was at the time, but it says, Logan Paul makes $50,000 from posting one video. I was like, okay, who's Logan Paul? I didn't know about influencers. I didn't know about YouTubers. I'm like, Logan Paul, okay, a lot of followers.
50 grand.
Cool. Yeah, 50 grand. I'm like, okay, how is it that he doubled my income in 5 minutes?
One
Right.
video.
One
And
video.
you
I'm
worked
like,
a year.
yeah, and I
to
worked
get
a year.
28.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, something that I'm doing is wrong if the same line of work is, there's money out there. So once I started researching how these platforms work, I'm like, oh, so if I just do what I want to do, I could probably make a living and experience the world. So that was 2015. Okay, so from 2015 to 2020, I made videos every single week. I didn't miss it. They're going on YouTube, Instagram, most of which are still out there. I haven't deleted many of them, and nobody watched for 5 years. Not a single person watched. I didn't get anything above 10,000 views.
Did you not have, at no point did you in your mind say, okay, this is madness?
Oh, all the time, and
Yeah.
my wife can attest to
Did
it.
you keep
It's
that
like, what are you
job when
doing?
you were starting, so you had some
Oh, I went through
income?
many jobs.
Oh,
I did summer sales. I knocked
Yeah.
doors.
Right.
I was all over the place, but
Yeah.
always on the side, like be a YouTuber, get big on Instagram, whatever it is.
And then you check and there's 0 views.
And then you check and it's like, okay, my wife finally said, I don't want to ever hear you talk about this unless you're actually going to put your best foot forward. Because I was always talking like,
great
oh,
advice.
you can make $50,000 in a day. And she was just getting annoyed of it. So finally I kind of shut up, I backed off, and then in the summer of 2019, I was like, okay, this is my summer. I'm quitting my job and putting all in for 100 days. Okay, so for 100 days, I wrote 100 scripts. And I mean, these were fully produced, like Key and Peele-esque sketches. Yeah. I posted 100 days and 100 comedies in 100 days. And the whole goal was to get like 10,000 followers or something.
Yeah.
And I gained 800 followers in 100 days. So I quit. I was like, video is clearly not for me.
You've done everything in your power at that point.
I'd gone 5 years. Then I did this final challenge, very consistent, done. So from the summer of 2019 to the summer of 2020, I hadn't done anything, not a single post. And then I got hired as a creative director at an ad agency. And I started to see how the videos we make, why people click on them, why they don't click on them, why they watch 30 seconds, why they watch 5 minutes.
Science behind it.
Science behind it. I'm like, okay, so people aren't just funny. People aren't just weird looking. People aren't just charismatic. They actually have they've got it dialed. And so I did another 100-day challenge, but TikTok was out. So I did 100 TikToks in 100 days. And I did 3 TikToks every day for 100 days.
Jeez.
And these were just like crappy, just like fast, nothing, you know? And yeah, at the end of the 100 days, I had 100,000 followers. And I was like, okay.
100,000?
I was like, okay, something's here. I'm like, I don't care how cringy TikTok is, something's here. And then I told my boss, I showed my boss at the time at the ad agency, I said, hey, I have 100,000 followers on this app. He's like, okay, that's stupid, you know, nobody cares about that. A couple weeks later, I'm like, I have 400,000 followers. A couple weeks after that, I'm like, hey, I'm about to hit 1 million and I'm probably gonna quit my job. And
wow.
He's like, you gotta do it. He really pushed me to do it. And so I quit my job in October of 2020 and I've been doing it full time since.
Since 2020.
Since 2020,
But
yeah.
it took you started in 2016?
2015.
So it took a while.
Oh, it took so long.
But you never gave up. So what was that driving factor?
Well, the driving factor is like, I was just drawn to it. Like there was a natural draw of energy. And actually I did this really cool competition called Everesting. Have you guys heard of this? You hike the equivalent of Mount Everest in a 48-hour span. Jesse Itzler, it's his event. Yep. Colin O'Brady, who also walked across Antarctica, told me something that has stuck with me since, and I think it's why I kept going, is like, you can tell when you're called to do something. You know, it rings in the back of your head no matter where you are, no matter where you're living, no matter who your friends are, no matter what your job is, there's something that is just always ringing in the back of your head. And so I'd be walking down the street and I'd see like a kid do something funny, like that's a video. And I'd be like, wait, I'm not doing videos anymore because I suck at it, right? Every little thing I did always turned into a video in my head. And so like I always tell people, you know, what are those things that you're called to do? You have to chase that. And it's different for everybody.
What I love about this story too is I'm sure there's this misconception when people see a creator and someone who has millions of followers, they think you just did it overnight. And this was a long journey. And at the back of your head, you had this thing keep driving you forward.
It's the best. Sean Nelson from Lovesac. Have you interviewed Sean?
Not yet.
I've met him before.
Cool. Yeah, he talked about something really, really interesting. So Lovesac switched to the couch game, right? They have these amazing couches. And he's like, people think that we got into the couch game and just took off. No, we had been selling couches for 10 years before. And then suddenly the couch game picked up and we were just ready to hit it. So what happened with me was the same thing. I had 5 years backlogged of production, know-how, camera work, editing, the whole thing. And then once TikTok came out, it wasn't that I just picked up TikTok really quickly. It was that I had this backlog of education and TikTok was the right platform to press me forward. And
paid the price over 5 years to try to figure out what works, what doesn't work.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Grind.
Yeah, absolute grind and like with no results, you know. I had a few people in my corner that would always DM me, hey, keep going. This is going to break. This is going to break. You know, 2016, they're like, this is going to break. Just keep going. 2 years later, hasn't broken. I'm like, okay.
But you still went on. So what would your advice be for a creator in year 2 and year 3 still trying to get going, get popular, get some views, and it's not happening?
Content creators think about it so hard, right? And it makes sense. You're making these videos, you're putting them out to the world.
Wake up every day thinking the same thing.
Yeah, you're getting roasted by your cousins.
Yeah.
You know, and then one video picks up and all of a sudden you're roasted by strangers. So like, I think the worst thing a content creator can do is actually think about it. I spent 5 years meticulously organizing what I was going to put online, when in reality, I should have just been making content because it's really bad in the beginning. And that's the next thing I say is the idea of an empty auditorium, right? If you showed up, if somebody said, go practice your bit in an empty auditorium, you could do it day in and day out. Nobody's listening, nobody's gonna hear it. And then if you put one person in the auditorium, it's like, oh, I've done this in front, and you slowly start filling this auditorium. Dude, that's exactly how social media is, right? Your first video will get 100 views, maybe. And then 5 years down the road, you're getting 10 million views, but you have all this practice. So it's like, nobody watches your videos in the beginning, just start.
I love that you brought up getting roasted though, because view count is not the only challenge for a creator.
Yeah.
You've got to have that resilience when you're getting roasted.
Yeah.
Those haters are going to be there.
I was the friend in the group that I roast everybody I come in contact with. Like I'm constantly trying to.
You're good at it. Right, you kind of, you lean into the
Yeah.
roast.
You got to lean into
I
it, right?
I love the
You've gotta-
roast, but I get that. I get what you're saying, Debbie. It's like the main thing I think about is like if somebody knows your life story and they still poke you with a roast, that's when it should sting. If nobody knows your background, if nobody knows your intentions, you gotta let it roll off the chest. And I have no advice because I love a good roast. A perfect example. This is the best roast of all time. I had an underbite, like I was telling you. I got double jaw surgery, and one of my first big videos, which was stolen, the caption said, "I'm gonna blow the world's biggest bubble." So I pop in on the video. I pop in the bubble gum, and I'm chewing for 4 minutes straight, and I never blow a bubble. So it's just my face going. And I never blow a bubble. And then the first comment that had like 100,000 likes was world's biggest bubble or world's biggest underbite. And that made me so happy. That made me so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, that one is so good.
That is a good one.
That
100,000
comment
likes.
that had 100,000
Oh,
likes.
people loved it. It had like, a couple hundred replies. It was good.
Cool. I love your example too of the auditorium because I'm sure as a creator, you're like, you see 10 people in the audience and you're like comparing it to someone like you who's got millions. You're like, dude, why am I failing so bad? But like you said, you got to start.
Yeah.
You just got to go.
I mean, listen to any comedians come up, right? You see them on Netflix and they're hilarious, but to get to that hilarity, you have to test your joke so many times in front of so many different people until it's like, everybody's in on the joke, right? So it just takes a lot of testing.
Yeah.
You can see why his mission kept him going because he's built for this, to entertain.
A little
to
bit.
chew gum for 4 minutes on a video.
We should have had him chew
right?
gum for
With
ours.
an
It was
underbite.
so
Yeah,
fun.
a little bit. I've stretched, I've gone cringe. I've gone
Maybe-
epic and inspiring. I've
Maybe
tried
we
it all.
could do the first underwater podcast interview.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That's interesting.
Let's line that up.
That's really interesting. Well, I did I got a Fortnite win in the helmet, and we put a mic down the tube that I breathe out of, and you can talk perfectly.
There we go.
Wow,
It's really
And
interesting.
we'll have you back on the show and we'll do that.
Can't wait.
Some fun,
absolute
edgy
honor
thing.
to have you.
Thank you guys.
so
Thanks
much.
for
Yeah,
coming.
epic.
Yeah, where can people follow you?
London Laz, Feet Finder, OnlyFans, whatever it is.
Okay.
You're gonna find
All
him
right.
for us. OnlyFans. Thanks, London.
Thank you guys.
If any of you watching today have any doubts that your current CPA is not helping you take 100% advantage of the deductions you deserve and helping you stay compliant with the IRS, then don't hesitate to get involved with TaxHive today. You won't be disappointed.